Hey everyone, this is Warehouse Visionaries, the podcast where I sit down with the leaders shaping the future of warehousing to talk about how they're doing it so the rest of us can too. I'm the host, Evan Stinson, and today I'm talking to Jesse Sevilla, the Director of Sales and Operations with States Logistics, and we're talking all about the challenges, surprises, and successes of running a world-class operation and building a strong team culture. Hey everyone, I am Evan from OneTrack, and we are on site with States Logistics filming an episode of Warehouse Visionaries. I'm talking today with Jesse Sevilla, and we're going to dive into what life is like running operations for multiple sites in an organization like States Logistics here in California. So, Jesse, I appreciate you coming and spending some time with me. So I guess let's start with some introductions. Obviously, I just said your name, but can you tell everyone a little bit about who you are, what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Jesse Sevilla. I started with States Logistics 13 years ago. I started as a warehouse supervisor. And, throughout the years, became a warehouse manager, then operations manager, then a general manager. And as of 2 weeks ago, I became director of sales.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I guess my question here was, when you stepped into the GM role, what are some of the biggest surprises or challenges? But maybe now that you've up-leveled even further, what are some of those biggest things that have surprised you as you've moved along each of those levels?
Yeah, let me give you a little bit of both. I think when I saw the difference was when I became a GM. I'm very a hands-on type of manager, right? I want to make sure that I'm talking to my team, I'm working directly with them. So I would like to be very direct with my frontliners. When I became a GM, I was more in the background, in the behind scenes. So I had to really trust my managers. So that was a big challenge for me, but it took me a couple of years for me to understand it. Hey, they're fully trained. You're okay just leaving them alone. So that was one of the big challenges. Now, recently, as a director of sales, yes, big challenge. There's a lot of fear there, but it's good fear. I think fear is good, just for the fact that I've done some sales, but not as a first approach, meaning the sales team would bring me the clients and then I would sell it as a general manager. But now as a frontliner regarding sales, yeah, it's fearful, but it comes with the challenge.
What are those things? Exactly. What are some of those things that keep you up at night when you're thinking about your role?
There's good things and there are bad things. The bad thing is making sure that we have the volume, we have work for our employees. A long time ago, this is before States, in 2008 when we had the whole market crash, one of the big things as a manager was laying off people, and that always scared me. So that's one of the things that I want to make sure that the company always has volume, always has accounts, new accounts, so we don't go through that again.
When you think about what a high-performing operation looks like, what are some of those things that come to your mind?
A high-performing, obviously, we're a 3PL business, so it's always high-performing 7 days a week. Training our team the right way, making sure that, hey, this is what's going to be expected, and make sure you're prepared for it. And then if you train them correctly, you can perform or outperform your current tasks.
Well, speaking of training your people, what do you think about building a culture in the logistics space? Obviously, there's temp workers and different things, but I think States does a pretty good job at investing in the people and keeping the people. So what's your thoughts there?
Yeah, especially now, not only with the contractors that we hire and our employees, but also with the new generations. They don't want to work in a building like this one. They spend most of their time on social media and everything. Everything's nice and pretty and pink. Obviously, working in a building, it's not that fun. So you have to connect with them, and the company's done a lot of great jobs with this. One of the things that we hired this company about a year and a half ago called TrailPath, and where they teach the management, the leaders, how to connect with different people. Before TrailPath, I think one of the goals that we did, or one of the key things that we had to connect with multiple employees, is to have that one-on-one relationship with them. Stopping as you walk the building, say, hey, how's your day going? And doing all that. And let me know if you need any help from us. Let me know if you have any challenges so we can help you out with that. I think we do that very good here at States.
And is there, different tips and tricks for, different generations of people, or how have you kind of adapted to that as it comes?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think I started feeling the change, I think right after COVID. The kids started coming back to work because, they were getting, help from the government. It was different because, during interviews, I was literally told, hey, I'm here because my parents told me to get a job, or hey, I'm here because I don't have a free check from the government anymore and I have nothing else to do. So one of the things I told them, hey, unfortunately, yes, it's a lot of manual work. It's hard work, but we could train. We could definitely train you. And then this is a company that's been around since 1958. So there's a future here if you want to invest yourself in it. And I think letting them know, hey, yes, we're not Google, we're not Apple, but we're a good company that's been around for many, many years. And we believe in our employees, we invest in them. and said, hey, there is a future here for you. We just need your part. I think that helps out a lot.
I think the ESOP program also helps kind of buy in.
That's
there.
great.
Like, you're not going to screw up if you own part of the company.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something else that you have to educate the young people. They don't know about the program. You have to literally sit them down. Hey, this is good for you. Not going to help you out 2-3 years from now, right? You have to be fully vested after this amount of years. But 15, 10, 20 years from now, when you're older, there's going to be a lot of money there for you. And that's something that we have to train and educate.
And I think it helps attract the right people over time, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Yes.
So how do you go about coaching in an organization like this, or just in a 3PL in general? What approach do you take, or did you take when you were the GM for when it comes to coaching people and really holding people accountable, making sure everyone's aligned?
Yeah, training and cross-training is definitely key in a 3PL. Obviously, a lot of people want to learn different multiple tasks. So what I did, we created this metric system, and where we pretty much categorize all the tasks that we have in the facility within this metric system or this matrix system. All the employees are listed there, and then it gives you the day that they were trained, if they had a refresh on their training, and it just pretty much tells you who's been trained and who's not been trained. So it keeps you on track, and then you follow up with them to see if they have any other question regarding that training. So that helps out a lot. That was also implemented in one building, and then we shared it with the entire company.
How do you help the next group be the next you? You've moved up through the organization. Yeah. You've had a pretty good career trajectory. So how do you make sure that everyone else kind of has the same opportunities, but that you're investing in the right skills for them to grow and step up and be the next leaders for states? That's
definitely a great question, and it's part of my goals for this year. A succession plan is definitely key. Dedicate the time, as much time as we can, to our current leaders, and then ask them, hey, do you want to keep growing with us? Do you want that responsibility? I want you to be happy doing so, but that's going to come from me. It's pretty much training and having that conversation with them.
And are there any specific kind of things you do, or maybe signals to look for? Are you just going out and saying, hey, do you have interest here? How do you figure out who wants to step? Because not everyone does, right?
Right, yeah. I do look for key things. So one of the things I do like, if I see that hunger in them, if they want to learn more, if they're pretty much every day say, I have multiple talks with them throughout the year, and they tell them, hey, Jesse, I'm pretty much capped out. I'm tired. I want to do more. Then, okay, got it, noted. But if I feel that employee has potential to do more, I do sit them down and say, hey, there's this opportunity that I could definitely develop you into it, but I want to know if you want to be part of that. So I talk to every single one of them, even if I think that they're not going to want it, because I think if I see potential in them, I want to make sure that I'm at least presenting the idea to them.
Everybody needs a little bit of a push,
exactly,
right?
Exactly, yeah.
How do you balance investing the time it takes to invest in people, right, while also getting the job done? Like, everyone has a million things going on, so how do you keep everything straight?
Yeah, that's definitely a huge challenge, not only for me, I'm pretty sure for most of my peers. We're definitely busy. We try to step out of the office just to grab some air. But when we do that, obviously we go out and we look at employees. And once you're walking the building, you have to do your job and talk to them. You have to definitely ignore any type of challenge that's causing stress in your life, and put that face out there with a smile and say, hey, I'm here for you. And they don't need to know what you're going through. They just say, hey, I'm here to support you, to give you whatever tool you need to be positive. But it's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, it's easier said than done.
Exactly, yes.
In what ways do you think that the people really set states apart from the competition, right? In logistics, you look around the logistics parks, there's a ton of providers out there. So what do you think are those differentiators for states, and how do you guys go about building that?
I think it's definitely the culture. I know we have a lot of stats regarding turnover, but I could tell you, anybody that's with us after 4 or 5 years, they just don't leave. They're just here with us. And if you ask them, it's definitely the culture. It's definitely the programs that we currently have. But it's more that, that tact that we have of every single employee when it comes from the CEO of this company to the president, all the way down. And I know this firsthand because I've had employees that left states, and 2-3 years later, they come back and say, hey, like, what? That extra dollar that they gave me over there was great. But man, the manager, you're like nobody. They're just like another asset. With here, we feel like we're part of the family. That is true. The reason why I'm here for 13 years is because when I started as a supervisor, I felt that was part of the family.
Yeah, I was talking to Ryan Donovan. This was a while back, but he said that everyone can get the same forklifts, everyone can get the same pallets, everyone can get the same technology, but other people can't copy your people.
Exactly.
Right? And that's the X factor.
And it's not easy, right? It's again, just like the previous question, we're super busy, but we have to have the time to dedicate to our employees for it to work.
Right.
If not, we're not going to set our sights apart.
So how do you keep people motivated and performing at a high level when it's I mean, it's a grind, right? You're moving orders in and out all day long, product in, product out. So how do you keep people motivated?
Empowerment is one of the first things that we do here. So we want to go out and say, hey guys, you did a lot of great job, shipping orders, labeling cases, or doing projects. We want to make sure that they understand the positives, and we want to make sure that they understand where's that product going to and the success stories that we have because of them. That's one thing. The company itself has a lot of different programs when it comes to acknowledging who's employee of the year, who's honorably recognized. We have different parties. There's a lot of growth that we implement with classes. We teach you how to be more efficient and doing all that stuff. And then within that, if you want to grow in this company, there's also tools for that. So we tell them, hey guys, I know this is a lot of work, but there's actually options for you to move on. And two, thank you very much for all that you're doing here. But aside from that, also one of the things that we do is a lot of parties and like luncheons and stuff like that. And during those luncheons, we tell them, hey, this is because of you guys.
How do you balance like productivity and safety, right? Because I think you can either be fast or you can do it right is usually the adage, but how do you make sure that people do things fast and correctly and safely and just...
Safety comes first, right? That's number one priority. The safety comes first. So we tell them you have to be safe first before you go and outperform. I don't care if you're going to pick a pallet in 3 minutes versus 7 minutes. I just want you to be safe. And then we pass that on to our clients, to our customers, and they're actually happy about that. They're like, hey, yeah, we care about safety first because we care about our employees first versus your product. So that's going to come first. So yes, once you operate safely, then you could perform, but safety definitely comes first.
Well, and usually, I mean, if someone's safe, they're probably a little happier at their job. If they're happier, they're going to work a little harder. They're going to be faster. They're going to pay more attention. They're not going to have the dinged up product.
And that's one type of our culture that's recognized that, wow, this company actually wants somebody to be safe before, they want to load 20 pallets in 5 minutes into a truck. So yeah.
What are some of those, programs, strategies, technologies that you have seen or that State has invested in to help drive that safety through the organization?
So one of the things that we have is OneTrack. We always think that as management, you're on the floor, you're looking at your employees, you're looking how they operate, you're looking how they mechanically use their body, make sure that they're safe. But you think you cover it all and you don't, right? So we need technology for that. And it was a big eye-opener when I started working with OneTrack, saying, hey, wow, the equipment part of it, and when you see all these different issues, but also how they move their bodies and they're not bending their knees and stuff like that. So that's definitely a risk. And other things that we're also doing in other buildings, we're using robotics, not for the fact to automate it, but also when you have a robot inside of a container picking up 50, 60, 70 pound cases, you don't have someone in there that's going to injure their back or anything like that. So we're doing multiple things to help with safety.
Yeah. I think it's good to have that balance, right? It's like not everything has to be automated, but some things makes a lot of sense. And then when it comes to, OneTrack in the video, it's like, I might not think I'm doing things incorrectly, but then I ended up getting hurt, and the video shows, well, it's because you had your arm outside of the lift, and I didn't even think I did that. But it's hard for someone to really be impartial for that.
Exactly.
All right, we're gonna pivot here a little bit. We talk about this term or this vision, the warehouse of the future, right? And a lot of people think it's robotics, like you just mentioned, and it's all automation. But what do you think of when you think about the future of logistics, the future of warehousing? What does that look like to you when you think about 10 years down the road?
I think, in this fast-moving pace world that we live in now, and everything's done via an app, and everybody wants their product super fast arrive to their home, I think it's going to be more technology. I think there's definitely going to be that. But also with that, it's going to be a lot of people that need to be educated or, have the knowledge to work with technology, because I think it's going to pivot into something like that. It's more into a software type of business than a supply chain. Just for the fact, again, we're moving into this, and everybody wants everything super fast, but it's never going to go away. Obviously, the supply chain needs to be there. We have to make it more interesting for the new generations, for them to actually say, hey, I want to work in that warehouse. So I don't know what changes are going to be. What I see now, it's technology, robotics, but with a lot of labor still, involved.
Yeah, striking that balance, right? Yeah,
exactly.
So if you had a magic wand and you could change one thing about the world of whether it's logistics, warehousing, you name it, what would that magic wand do?
Oh my God, perfection. I think that's one of the things that we don't like. We ship millions of cases out, but that one customer that did not receive their product correctly, that's the one customer that you think about every single day. So perfection. I wish, had that magic wand that we didn't make an error. But we're definitely humans, and every single human's not perfect. Having the magic wand would be great. Perfection is what I definitely would strive for.
Well, it's one of those things. What have you done for me lately? And you ship some product that is incorrectly packaged, is damaged, then
Exactly.
that's your reputation on the line.
Exactly. Yeah. And customers, every single customer is different. Every single customer that you ship to is one of your customers. So yeah, if you ship 10,000 units, but that one customer that got it wrong, that's the only customer they're going to think about.
Every time. All right, last question here. What advice would you give to, let's say, other general managers out there who are preparing for that future, or just how would you kind of counsel them or coach them to go and tackle their operation, their workforce differently, just knowing all the changes that you've seen throughout the years?
One of the things is definitely have open communication with them, not only with your managers, but also with the frontliners. That's always key. Having either shift meetings, group meetings, doing those one-on-ones are crucial in our industry. And not only doing through a performance review or anything like that, just on a normal day, approach them. And I know it takes a lot of time, but I think that's key. That's key for you to know what's really happening in your operation and how to fix it.
All right. Well, Jesse, I appreciate you taking the time and coming on the podcast with me. For all you listening, next time, stay tuned. We'll be coming with another episode every month. And yeah, we're going to wrap things here. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Warehouse Visionaries. Here are my top 3 takeaways from my conversation with Jesse. Number 1, you have to lead with people first, always. Jesse credits states low turnover and strong culture to real human connection. One-on-ones, walking the floor, and mentorship matter, especially when you're talking about across generations of work. Programs like an ESOP help younger employees see long-term value, and if you invest in people, they will always invest back into the company. Number 2, you have to train for performance but prioritize safety. From a cost training matrix to using OneTrack for safety insights, Jesse shows how to scale performance without compromising safety. Technology helps fill the gaps we can't always see on the floor, and it's not always about being faster. It's about being safer and smarter. And number 3, grow the next leaders early. Jesse's growth comes from a boss who believed in him. Now he's paying it forward with a clear succession mindset, talking to team members about their goals and building custom paths to get them there. If you've listened this far, you're serious about making real improvements to your logistics operations. You can subscribe to the show on YouTube, follow OneTrack on LinkedIn, and you can subscribe to our newsletter so you never miss an episode and always get the best resources from your peers in the industry delivered to your inbox so you can always stay a step ahead in your operation.